So some people are saying Jesus is black. Is it true? But we always walk around and they'll tell us that, oh, Jesus is not the white man we see the pictures around.
Yeah.
Jesus is black.
Okay.
And we know Jesus comes from Israel. So why are they saying that Jesus is black?
Okay, well, anytime I encounter people and they're trying to go down that route, most of them, they bring those arguments just so they will say that I don't believe in the Bible.
Oh, okay.
That's why they bring those arguments. That's where they are going. That how come they're portraying him as a white blonde person, and he's not? So why should I follow the white man's Jesus? That's what people do. But it's not about that. What we need to understand is that God, when he was bringing, or he himself, Jesus from heaven, coming down to earth, he chose to do it through Abraham and his seed. How many know Abraham and his seed? And when we read the Bible, we see where he comes from. So I used to tell people that if God chose to bring Jesus through my family, as a black man like me, obviously then Jesus will be looking like me. Because that's where he chose to bring Jesus from. It was God's choice to bring Jesus through Abraham and his seed. And Abraham and his seed, if we want to locate where they were, then we find them in the Middle, was it the Middle East?
Middle East.
Middle East.
Okay. So you're talking of West Saudi Arabia.
Those areas.
Okay.
You see? So it is the person through which God chose to bring Jesus through his descendants that Jesus came. So where he happened to be at the time was where he came from. And obviously he will look like the people that he came from. So that's how he looked, the way he looked. But when you look into things, it has to do with, he wasn't European. Yeah? I mean, truth should be told. But I also want to believe that those who illustrated all of that in pictures and stuff, they will probably have the mindset of people who are trying to reach their people. Yes. So if I'm a white man and I'm trying to reach all my white friends and family, I will bring something that will relate to them, so they will see. Let me quickly tell you a story. I don't know whether you had something. There was a movie I was watching, and they got slaves from Africa, and somehow were in the United States. And then they accused them of killing the slave masters on the ship. So they took them to court. And then whilst things were going on, there was some Christian group who were always singing and praying. They had Bibles in their hands. And whilst the African slaves were passing through, one of them snatched one of the Bibles. Snatched one of the Bibles and took it to the prison where he was. He couldn't read. So he was flipping through the pages, just not reading the words. Obviously he can't read. So he was concentrating on the photos. So this person that printed the Bible, whoever wrote it, or the printing press, or the publishers, they put photos alongside the story. So Genesis, then they put photos of how the whole world was in chaos. Then they put photos of Adam and Eve from their perspective. So they put all these photos. And this guy, in the film, for some reason was flipping through, and somehow he understood the Bible from the photos. Do you understand? Yeah. So his friend, they were having a conversation, and they said we murdered our slave masters, so they want to kill us also. But I'm not afraid, because it even happened to their own people. See, so he was sharing the Bible with his friend and explaining, and every explanation, I was listening, I thought, you got it right, just from the photos. So he said, see, and they had their man, which was Jesus, who was born with a special something. Because look at the ring on his hair. In the photo, they put that heirloom, right? And then he was saying, look at him, he's doing this, he's doing that, healing people who were sick, even walking on water, and everybody was fine and hailing him. But then he said, but at some point it looks like he did something wrong. So because they arrested him and killed him, then he was opening the photos and show, and they killed him on the cross. But that's not the end. That's the guy said from the he rose again.
Wow.
And here he is. So if these people kill us, because we know that we didn't do anything wrong, we will rise again.
Amen.
Do you see that?
What's the name of the movie?
Amistad.
Amistad.
Okay, so let's look for it and watch it.
Yeah, maybe we'll watch it one of these days.
Amistad.
Yeah,
Amistad.
It's a slave film.
Oh, wow.
But just that portion really grabbed me
Wow.
of how this guy can read, and he was going through the photos and explaining to his friend that it's not bad. Let them kill us. Because even their people, their man that was so good, they killed him. He did nothing wrong. But look at his end. He rose up again,
Wow.
and everybody was celebrating.
That's
You
a
know,
great story.
so some of these photos, images in the Bible, and we will talk to your parents. Those who, I'm sure some of you have Bibles, but then it would be good to have another one that has photos in
Yeah,
there.
a lot of the children
Bibles, they
have,
do have
Yeah,
photos.
we have a Bible we want to propose, but it's $30. That's the
Oh,
problem.
okay, all
Yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah, it has pictures and everything.
Yes, yes.
But the price is a bit high,
It's a
so
bit
maybe
high.
the church can help us.
Amen.
Pay part of
Bring
it.
the proposal. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that some of these publishing houses, those who print the Bible, they are looking for ways to put photos in there so that even if people don't want to read the words, they can understand.
Understand it.
And the best way that they can is to put photos that they can relate to. Yes? But you and I know from the knowledge that you are receiving, information you are receiving, that Jesus came from the Middle East because of the person that God chose to use to bring Jesus. So I always tell people, listen, black man, if you think that your argument is that Jesus was black, well, just know that it was God's choice as to who he wanted to bring his son through, the family and lineage line that he would bring. And if he, whatever way, group of people that he chose, that's where Jesus will come from. But he, in his own wisdom, thought Abraham, who came from a certain part of the world, his descendants, year by year by year by year, finally through him, Jesus came. So God, in his wisdom, will obviously make sure that he was somebody that he can relate to the people around him. So when Jesus came and he was looking like a black man in the midst of Middle East people or people from that part of the world, I'm sure then right from the beginning there will be some controversies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he chose to bring him through those people. And if you remember, when you read the Bible, anytime Jesus was trying to tell or preach to his people, he will use parables. And those parables are things that his people will understand. Do you get me? So the Good Samaritan. And then suddenly all those listeners will be thinking, oh yeah, I know about the Jews and the Samaritans. I know that they don't get on well. So I do understand your story that Samaritan was able to help the Jew. So I understand. I know the way they travel. I know the way they speak. I know all of that. So that from that point, now the message can just travel to other parts, China, Africa, everywhere, and we understand. But we need just to know that Jesus, God was intentional about the person he chose, Abraham. And through him, we had Jesus. Hence, the way he looked, right? Amen.
Amen.
Do we understand that? Anybody?
You have a question? Jaden, you have a question?
Did you have a question?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay.
Jesus is actually the skin color of the spirit. He's not black or white.
Wow, I love that.
Okay.
I
Oh,
love
wow.
that.
Good
Yeah,
question.
That's a very good.
That's-
He's saying.
Yes.
that.
Good, yeah. Yeah. That's good. So if you think of it that way,
Yeah.
then you not get into those arguments.
I almost
That's-
asked the same question. Must where Jesus came from or
Yeah.
the color be a concern
It
in
shouldn't even
worshiping?
be
It
a
shouldn't
man.
be.
It shouldn't be a
Right?
It
concern.
shouldn't
We are all
be.
human beings and God
So
created
whether
us
black
all.
or white, it's still
It's,
human being.
yes. It's, yes.
And at the end of the day, he loves us all. And
Yeah.
he created us. So whatever color he is,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
My
at all.
parents could be white,
Mhm.
right? But they love me,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter who your father is.
Yes.
As long as he loves you.
And I've read stories and I've actually seen people who have adopted, say white people,
Yeah.
who have adopted black people
Exactly.
as their children.
And they love them genuinely.
And they give them everything
Yeah.
they needed, just like their own.
Wow.
Do you see that? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because when they open their mouth, they speak same.
Yes.
Yeah? And all of that.
Yeah.
It's just you, sometimes it's where the thing is happening. And so for you here in Canada, if we're explaining things, we try to cut out the Ghana side of things because maybe you will not understand because you don't live there. Do you get me? So we try and bring it home to you. But at the end of the day, it's the principle, it's the love factor, it's all of that
Yeah.
that we need to look at. Amen.
Amen.
And Jesus, as much as he was spirit, then he had to come as a physical being.
Mm.
So whichever way, he has to come like somebody. Yeah? And that somebody doesn't really matter.
Yeah. God
Yeah.
chose that.
God
person.
chose that person. And then Jesus, as he is, he came and he did what he was on the earth to do. To save you and to save me. That's what's important.
Yeah. So don't get in the argument with people about the color of Jesus. At the end of the day, like everything that Elder Sam has said, he's our Father, and that's all that matters.
That's right.
Okay?
So I think we should focus more on Jesus being spirit.
Yes.
Spirit.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Mm.
Sorry for.
That's
So some people also say that. So that means the Jesus we see in the movies, they are
Yes.
not the real Jesus, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we
It's
can't
an
preach
image
them.
portrayed by
Portrayed
someone.
by somebody.
Right?
There's,
So
there's a guy called Jim Cavall something.
Jim Caviezel.
Jim, yes. And he said he acted the Passion of the Christ.
Oh yeah.
And since that time, so everybody see him as a Jesus. People see him and actually want to see him as Jesus. And they say, no, I only acted, an actor. I just acted the story. And they chose my color and my hair and everything because of the writers and how they portrayed Jesus. So I had to just come and to act. So, you know, I hope we do understand. Yeah? Yes. Okay.